Hello, my young learners. So, welcome back to your own learning platform, Learn Forward. And again, for your grammar sessions, we are right here together with your grammar book, The Grammar Hub for Grade 8 by Feathercap. And today, we are going to start chapter 14, in which we'll be learning more about phrases and clauses. I hope you remember you have already learnt about finite, non-finite verbs. What are finite verbs? They change according to the subject, the number, the tense, and the person, right? So, finite and non-finite verbs we need to recall for this topic. The second thing is subject in a sentence. I hope you remember these two things. So, let's get started with the topic. What is a phrase? Let us try to understand first. Phrase. For sentence, we say sentence is a group of words that makes a complete sense. But phrase, it is also a group of sentence which gives you sense, which gives you meaning, but then it is not a complete meaning. So a phrase is a group of words that gives you some meaning which is incomplete, right? So a phrase is a group of words that make sense but not complete sense. For example, let's read this. Please give your complaint in black and white. So if you just read the highlighted words in black and white, so do you find any verb here? No. And even if there is a verb, it should not be finite verb. And then a phrase does not have a subject even. Now let's look at the second one. The old man met with an accident while crossing the road. While crossing the road again. Do you see a verb here? Yes, crossing is the verb here. But is it finite verb? No, it is non-finite verb. So this again, this part of the sentence again is a phrase. So subject may or may not be there, but then finite verb should definitely not be a part of the phrase. Now, what is a clause then? A clause is also a group of words which gives its independent meaning. Somehow, it is like a sentence only with a finite verb, a subject also. But then it is actually a part of a bigger sentence. Like if you have the sentence, the students who work hard get good marks. Now look at the highlighted part here, who work hard. What does it mean? Does it have a subject? Yes, it has a subject who, which is being used for students, and it has a finite verb also, work, right? So it has a subject of its own, it has a finite verb also, and it is a part of a bigger sentence. It is making its own meaning. So this is a clause. A clause is a group of words which is a part of a larger sentence. It has only one subject and predicate and gives nearly complete meaning. Now, wait here until I return. So here, if you read the part until I return, that is almost giving its complete meaning. This is also a clause here. It has a subject I, it has a finite verb return. Now, what are the different types of phrases? To understand that, we need to understand few things in a sentence. Phrases they are made by combining different types of words into a group. So it is a proper arrangement of groups, words actually. There's always a particular word around which a group of words they are related or a phrase is formed. The word that plays the central role in a phrase, that will help you, that is called the main word in that phrase, and that will help you identify what type of phrase are you talking about. This is the head of the phrase, or this is also called the main word. So the main word or the head of the phrase helps you to identify the type of phrase it is. Now let's read an example. The first two books in this list are very good. So here what we are talking about? We are talking about books. So the first two and the words in this list, they are just adding to the word books. Noun, we are talking about books here. So this is the head of the phrase, or this is the main word in the phrase. The other part of the phrase, the first two and in this list, These are just supporting, these are giving you additional information about the main word, the head of the phrase. That is books in this sentence. So books, they play a central role in this. And what part of speech is this word? That is a noun. That is why this phrase is the noun phrase, right? Because it is working as a noun, the head word there is a noun, and the other words are just giving additional information about the head of the phrase. Now there are 5 types of phrases depending on this. What are these? The noun phrase that acts as a noun. So here the main word is a noun, like my elder sister is very beautiful. Now what do you see here? My elder sister, we are talking about this in the sentence. This is a noun, right? The adjective that is being used here is just an additional information. Okay, so this is your noun phrase. The adjective phrase is, suppose we say, my elder sister is very beautiful. Although you have the adjective word here, elder also, but because the main word here is sister, which is a noun, so this becomes your noun phrase. But when you are describing this using the words very beautiful, that becomes your adjective phrase. When an adjective is placed before a noun in a noun phrase, it is simply a modifier there, right? Just like I told you here, elder is an adjective, but because it is a part of your noun phrase, it is only a modifier there. It is only giving you an additional information about sister, but it is not the main word. Now in case of adjective phrase, beautiful is the main word here. So this is your adjective phrase. Modifiers are words that give you additional information about the main word in the phrase. Now, in an adjective phrase, there isn't any noun, and so the adjective plays the role of the main word here. So, we are talking about very beautiful. So, beautiful is the adjective here, and that is the main word of the phrase. Now, adverbial phrase, as the word suggests, adverb. That means adverbial phrase. In this, the main word is an adverb and other words are just additional words. She has been working on her project very sincerely. So, sincerely tells you the manner of how the action is done, and very is just giving an additional information. So, very sincerely, this is your adverbial phrase. And remember students, what's the difference between a phrase and adverbial phrase or any phrase and the part of speech? We say what is an adverb? It is a word. So that is a single word. So if you simply say her project sincerely, that is an adverb. Now the manner is being shown here by using 2 words. So phrase is a group of words. That is why this is a phrase here and it is adverbial phrase. Now very sincerely, when we talk about it, the main word here is sincerely, which is an adverb, and the adverb sincerely, it modifies the verb which is working, right? So adverbs, they are the modifiers, as we have told, they modify verbs, and the word very, it modifies the main word in your phrase. So very sincerely becomes the adverbial phrase in your sentence. The third one is a verb phrase, and it is the one in which verb is the main word of the phrase. So she has been working all day. When you look at these italicized words, working is the main word in this phrase, and has been working, they are being used just to give additional information about the exact time, the exact tense of this verb. So that becomes your verb phrase. Next is the prepositional phrase. Now here in the prepositional phrase, the main word, the head of the phrase is a preposition. Like she has been working all day on her project. If you say like this phrase is starting with a preposition. So preposition here is the main head. So this preposition along with its object, because the prepositions, they need an object to complete them. So on her project, this becomes your prepositional phrase. Now, what are the different types of clauses? Let's recall. In clauses, we have a subject of its own, we have a finite verb also, and it gives you almost a complete sense, just like a sentence. So, what are the types of clauses? There are basically two types of clauses. One is the independent clause and the other one is the dependent clause. Independent clauses can also be, they can be main or the principal clause. They can be coordinate clauses also. Now, what is it? Main clause, principal clause, that is the main sentence of the main part of the sentence which has a finite verb and it has a subject also. Similarly, coordinate clause is also almost independent. It is a part of the sentence and it is equal in rank to your main clause, right? Both of them are almost the same. They have their own subject, they have their own finite verb also, but the only difference is that the coordinate clause, this is being connected here using a conjunction. Now, David worked hard and he got first class. So, suppose you say the sentence he got first class, that means it is giving its complete sense, but you don't know who is he. So, only this much, this part is dependent on David, the first part of the sentence. So, this is your main clause and this is your coordinate clause. Similarly, John is hardworking, but his brother is lazy. And the other important thing to remember is we have already learnt about coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. So, the coordinate clauses are connected using coordinating conjunctions. So, for that you can just recall fanboys. We have learnt an acronym for coordinating conjunctions. So, that is fanboys. So, from here and but, both these are coordinating conjunctions. So, the clauses here are coordinating clauses. Now, what about dependent clauses? They are also called subordinating clauses, and just like here coordinating conjunctions are used, here subordinating conjunctions are used, and they are not so independent as the coordinating clause. So, they are not equal in rank with the principal or the main clause. Like, I read a novel that is written by Charles Dickens. Now, if you say that is written by Charles Dickens, if you read this, it has a subject, that, which is a pronoun, then it has its own finite verb also. But if you read this sentence, that is written by Charles Dickens, is it giving its complete meaning? No, it depends on the main clause, I read a novel. But if you read out, I read a novel, if you say like that to somebody, it gives a complete meaning. Until and unless somebody is asking you more about it, it stands on its own. So, this is the main clause, independent clause here, and this is the subordinating clause, because if you just say that is written by Charles Dickens, the people listening will have too many questions about your sentence, about the information you want to give. So, this is a subordinating clause with its own subject, with its finite verb, but there is dependence on the main clause for its complete meaning. Now, coming to the different types of subordinating or the dependent clauses, the first one is noun clause. Noun clause plays the role of a noun in a sentence. Like if you have what you said yesterday hurt me deeply. So, if you just put a question, what hurt you deeply? Answer will come, what you said yesterday. So, this is the subject of the sentence and it is acting as a noun here. So, this is your noun clause. It has its own subject, what you said yesterday. In this, you have you as the subject, you have said as the finite verb. So, that is a clause and this is noun clause. Now, your noun clauses can act in different ways. It can be a complement in a sentence. So, complement in a sentence means complement to the verb. So, if you have I am, I'm what? I am what you made me, right? So, what you made me is the complement in a sentence. Complement of a sentence means the part of the sentence which gives a complete meaning to the verb. This is your incomplete verb, and it is getting completed only by this set of words, which is called the complement in a sentence. Now, it may be an object of a participle also, like guessing. Guessing what? What may be his reaction? Guessing what may be his reaction, Meeta avoided meeting the teacher. So here, what may be his reaction? This is following a participle, so it is an object of a participle. It can be an object of a preposition also, like I made my presentation on. On what? On what I was taught. So this is an object of a preposition. This is also a noun clause. Next, it may be an object of an infinitive also. You have learnt about the non-finite forms of verbs, where we have learnt about infinitives, gerunds and participles. So what are infinitives? I hope you remember. The to form, and sometimes there are bare infinitives also, children. So the teacher wants to know what? To know who will not come tomorrow. So again, this is an object of an infinitive here. This is a noun clause. So there are different roles a noun clause can have. It can be a complement in a sentence. It can be an object of a participle, a preposition, or even an infinitive. Right? So at 3 places, it is playing the role of an object. Next is adjective clause. As the name suggests, adjective clause. That means the clause that plays the role of an adjective. So what is the function of adjectives? They tell you more about nouns or pronouns. So this clause will also qualify a noun in the clause. When a dependent clause plays the same role in a sentence as an adjective. Like if you have the man who donated those books to the library. Now this part of the sentence, who donated those books to the library, it is a clause for sure, because it has a subject, it has the finite verb. Now what is it describing? It is telling you more about the man you are talking about in the sentence. So that this becomes, because it is a group of words, it is not a single word describing a noun. So this becomes your adverbial clause, adjective clause. Coming to next is the adverbial clause. Now, just like adjective clauses, they play the role of adjectives in a sentence. Adverbial clauses are the clauses that play the role of an adverb in a sentence. So what is the role of adverbs? They modify verbs, exactly. So here adverb clauses will also modify the verbs, like we went where none ever dared to go. So here the verb is went, and the clause where none ever dared to go. This is telling you about the place where you went. So that is an adverbial clause of place. Just like we have adverb of manner, adverb of place, adverb of time. Similarly, this is also an adverbial clause of place, because it is telling you about where did you go, right? So these are the different kinds of adverbial clauses. Now it's time to do some exercise. Pick the correct answer. A group of words which has only one subject and one predicate and gives nearly complete sense. So we are talking about nearly, not exactly. What is that? Is it a sentence? A sentence gives you complete meaning. A phrase? No, it gives you incomplete meaning. So that is just a clause. That is perfect. Coming to next, phrases and clauses generally do the functions of, do they act as nouns, as adjectives, as adverbs, or all of these? They act as all of these. We have just learned the kinds. A word which is used to join words, phrases, clauses, or sentences together. What is that word called? It can be a conjunction. Yes, of course. It can be a linker also. Definitely. And it can be a connector also. Yes. So, any of these can be used for them. He did not go to school dash. It was raining. So, what's the correct conjunction here? Because it was raining. Which of the following is the coordinating conjunction? So, go back to your acronym. Fanboys. So, and that, because, unless, all these are subordinating conjunctions. Now complete the sentences with suitable phrases according to their kinds given in the brackets. So the kinds are given here. You have to use the phrase of manner, then time, place, degree, frequency, purpose. So we are doing all the adverb phrases here. The fireman opened the door. You have to pick an adverbial phrase of manner. So the fireman opened the door very quickly. Did he open for fun? In the morning? With a kick? Twice a year in a foreign country? Only very quickly, because a fireman is at such a service that he needs to be called out and start working faster. So promptness is needed here. Mother cleans the house. Is it for fun? Is it in the morning? What you have to tell? Time. So for fun is not time. In the morning, with a kick, twice a year in a foreign country. In the morning, yes, this is number 2. So this is number 2 here. This is number 1 here. Right? So this way you'll have to find out the suitable phrases from the given help box. Coming to next, combine the following sets of clauses into meaningful sentences. I'm sure you'll be able to do. Too easy. I'll invite all my friends that his sister has stopped in the school who care for time when I celebrate my birthday. Of course, yes, but let's read all of them. When his sister did not return by late evening while the sun shines. Yes, you already got the correct answer. This is perfect. Coming to next, make hay. So, make hay when the sun shines is a common saying, right? So, similarly, you can match the other parts of these 2 columns also. Coming to next, mark the clauses and as main clause, coordinate clause or subordinate clause. So, what are main clauses? The principal clauses. Then the coordinating clauses are equal in rank with the principal clause or the main clause, and then subordinating clauses, they are dependent clauses. So let's look at this. And let us recall one more thing. Coordinating clauses are joined using coordinating conjunctions and subordinating clauses are joined using subordinating conjunctions. Jagriti likes painting, but I prefer clay modeling. So, but that is a coordinating conjunction. So, this is your main clause and this is your coordinating clause, right? Next, if I like the sari, I shall buy it. So, I shall buy it. This is your main clause. And if is your subordinating conjunction. So, this is your subordinating clause. Like this, you'll be just picking up your types of clauses, reasoning out why you are calling it a particular one. Okay. So, that way you'll get confident. Coming to next, identify the subordinating clauses in the following sentences and state the kind and function of each clause. So, we have already learnt about noun clauses, adjective clauses, adverbial clauses, and we have already also learnt about the 4 different roles a noun clause plays in a sentence. So, let's see. When I reached the base camp, I found that the rest of the party had already arrived. So, what is this? Is the main clause here. And this is starting with when I reached the base camp. So, if you get a question, when did you found the rest of the party had already arrived? So, this is giving you more information about the verb here, and this is an adverb clause. And because it is modified using when, that means it is telling you about time. So, this is the adverb clause, the subordinating clause, which is adverb clause of time. Okay. Now, let's pick out one more. While the orator made his speech, I looked around for a suitable spot where I could place my camera stand. So, there can be more than one subordinating clauses also. So, let's see. While the orator made his speech, I looked around for a suitable spot. I looked around for a suitable spot is your main clause. Now, while the orator made his speech, so this is again telling you about time. So, this is the adverb clause of time. Now, look at the third part of this sentence, where I could place my camera stand. What is it telling you about? it is telling you about the noun spot. That means it is modifying your noun in this part of the sentence. So this is something that modifies a noun is called adjective. So this is your adjective clause, right? So this is how you will be just picking out different clauses and telling what kind of clause is each one. So I hope I have made phrases and clauses easier for you to understand and practice. So keep practicing, keep rocking. We'll be looking ahead for more interesting sessions ahead. Till then, happy learning, children.